NACDL is the association of the nation's criminal defense bar.
Developing the defense theory through cross-examination. Essentially, that's what we do. I mean, that's the function of us showing up, suiting up and showing up every day to a courtroom, right? Is developing our defense theory. That's what we do. That's the main thing that we do. So the first thing you have to do is figure out what is your defense theory. Is it identity? Is it some other dude did it? Misidentification, alibi, claim of right, necessity, duress, self-defense, which is my favorite, the lack of specific intent, intoxication, the police ain't shit, insanity, or sometimes it's just that it's just too much damn time, okay? That the prosecution comes at you calling it an offer, but what it really is a statement. And the statement is, call up the fucking panel, we're going to trial, because that's too much time, right? So you'll find yourself thinking, damn, I really don't have any defense theory. Where am I going with this? I got nothing. And you know what though? And you start off thinking that, but at the end or the middle of a trial, who all then know that they're gonna have something? We're gonna have something, and you know where you get it? You get it through cross-examination, right? Okay. Oops. All right, so first rule of Fight Club, no. Is you use every single prosecution witness to advance your defense in the prosecution's case in chief. And I know that Mr. Posner said that sometimes you don't have anything from a witness. So, you know, for example, let's say it's a shooting case and your defense is ID, and the prosecution witness that is called now is the cop who just merely booked the firearm into the evidence locker. That's all he did. He wasn't a recipient witness to a suspect. He just showed up at the crime scene, and the only little thing he did, so we think, is that he booked the firearm into evidence, okay? So how do we use that witness, all right? It can go something like this. Officer subterfuge. How is it that you came to be in possession of the alleged recovered firearm in order to book it into the evidence locker? Answer, I was given the weapon by Officer Make It Up, who recovered it from the scene. Well, were you there when Officer Make It Up recovered the firearm? Well, no. So then you were then just merely told by Officer Make It Up that he recovered the gun from the crime scene. You didn't actually see it yourself, right? Yeah, no. Well, can you tell us why Officer Make It Up didn't book the allegedly recovered crime scene firearm in the evidence locker himself? Well, he was the investigating officer, so he had to remain at the crime scene. So you think, okay, that sounds like a good answer. So it's your testimony that you were tasked with removing a vital piece of evidence from the crime scene while it was still, in fact, an active crime scene. Well, yes. Why? Answer, I don't know, ma'am. This is their favorite. I don't know, ma'am. Sometimes they call me sir because maybe I have a deep voice, I don't know. But they, you know, you'd have to ask Officer Make It Up that question, okay? And you're like, oh, I will, as soon as he trades seats with you. Okay, all right? Were you tasked with the removal of any other vital pieces of evidence from an ongoing and active crime scene that you took away? Did you take anything else, sir? And he'll say, yeah, no. Okay, I didn't take anything else. But what are we thinking about now? We're thinking, why the hell did this guy take the firearm to book it into evidence while the crime scene was ongoing? So let's say, we're saying our defense theory is ID. Well, of course he did it because that gun had no connection to your client, all right? It had no connection. Maybe the cops planted it. Maybe somebody else, why would they take it? Why would he do it? A juror will be thinking that, why would this guy take it? I mean, it's ongoing. What's going on? Planting some suspicion, even using this seemingly arbitrary witness, is still planting some suspicion in the mind of the juror when we get up and say, either because of course defense theories overlap, when we get up and say that the cops got it wrong, our guy wasn't the guy who did it, and where the fuck did this gun come from? Okay? All right. So I believe that you have to use every single prosecution witness, even if it's just to get a little bit of a nugget, because what you're doing is we are building bricks to build a huge wall, fucker, okay, okay, about impeachment of the prosecution witnesses, okay? All right. Every little bit helps. So don't think that, oh, this guy can give me nothing. They can give you something. Right. So read, review, and commit to memory every word of a report. Data, 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 okay? I cannot even begin to tell you how the countless number of times I have found some seemingly insignificant kernel that's buried away in a medical record or buried away in a coroner's report or some insignificant obscure investigation report about some tangential part of the case that has provided me with invaluable information to support my defense theory. And when you find that little kernel, make it pop. No pun intended. You with me? Pop, popcorn, kernel. Okay, fuck it. Okay, blow it up. Take them by surprise. And see, sometimes I'm not sure if the DA, the district attorney, the prosecutor, knew it and was afraid and thought I wouldn't find it, or never knew it themselves. A lot of times they're just a surprise because I found that little kernel, and then just blow it the fuck up. So what you do is read, review everything. And I know, that's a massive task, and it's for every case, or you may have a case that doesn't have a lot of stuff. But still, I'm telling you, if you read, review, and commit it to memory, you will find something that will, in fact, support your defense theory. Okay. Use every single inconsistency. Every single one. I have never met an inconsistency in a prosecution witness's testimony that I have not fallen head over heels in love with. And so much so that I'll take it for a couple twirls around the dance floor, okay? All right, so, because again, we're building, what we're doing is we're attacking credibility. So any little thing, like, for instance, witness Mr. Inconsistency. When you recall coming to the preliminary hearing, is that right? Yes. And at that time, you testified that the person, the suspect who robbed you, had on a purple shirt. Do you recall giving that previous testimony? Well, I don't recall. So here, because you have reviewed and committed everything to memory, well, I'd like to refer both court and counsel to page 26 of the preliminary hearing transcript, lines 10 through 12, wherein the witness said the shirt was purple. So Mr. Inconsistency, when you came to the preliminary hearing, and you took the same oath that you took in front of this jury, is that right? Yes. And that was the oath to tell the truth, is that right? And you recall it was a different courtroom, is that true? Yes. It was a different judge, is that right? Yes. It was, and I'd like to say when it's a different prosecutor, because I'm the only one, me and my client are the only ones who've been there throughout, because it looks like we know it all, right? And especially me. That's why I like to get them to that prelim transcript. Okay. And I was there, you remember me, don't you? I think so. Well, certainly you remember Mr. Defendant, he was there, yeah. And at that time, it wasn't a jury though, right? No, it wasn't a jury there. But you took the same oath that you took in front of this jury that you're gonna swear to tell the truth, isn't that right? Well, yes. So at the preliminary hearing, when you testified that the shirt was purple, were you telling the truth? Okay, well, when you testified in front of this jury and took the oath to tell the truth, you testified that the shirt was yellow. Isn't that right? Okay. Well, I guess I'm not sure. And that's exactly right. You're not sure. You're not, going back in your mind to when the incident occurred, can you tell us definitively what color the shirt was? Okay. Well, well, maybe it was purple in the front and yellow in the back. Okay, sir. The shirt wasn't purple in the front and yellow in the back. What you're doing for us now is you're trying to reconcile the fact that you testified to two separate colors of the shirt. Isn't that true? Because you're trying to fix it. You don't know what color the shirt was. Isn't that true? Just thinking back on it, you really don't know what color the shirt was, do you? Well, yeah, I guess I don't. Okay. So, and you may think, man, who gives a shit about a purple or yellow shirt because the defendant confessed, okay? All right? That's, okay? All right, but we do give a shit about it because unless it's on video and audio, just because they said he confessed don't mean he did it. And if we in fact confess, so and plus for us in California, we can get us a false confession expert to handle that part of it, right? Okay, but still, any little thing that's planting a seed of doubt in the jury's mind in terms of the identification of your client, you have to use each and every consistency. You take that fucking molehill and make a mountain, okay? All right? And here's another thing, too, that I want to add before I forget. So sometimes a lot of us during cross-examination, we got that big aha moment, right? And we get the witnesses in, and we're like, aha, we got it. They said something really great for us. And then we move on. Don't move on. Because just because we think it's the big aha, and we, thought it was big, there are jurors sitting up there thinking about Game of Thrones, thinking about, their 17-year-olds is still a bedwetter. Okay, you have to drive the point home, okay? You have to focus it so your big aha moment will really be a big aha moment, which means you have to repeat it, okay? All right. Make the mountains out of molehills. Okay, so here's another tidbit that I want to emphasize. It is crucial, you all, to capitalize on your own unique lawyering style, okay? So when I was a young lawyer, I used to love to go watch those lawyers who are always, calm and cool and slow and steady. I loved that, and I thought, wow, I wish I could do that. Because I know I'm the lawyer that by the time we get to close an argument, I'm screaming as fuck at the jury, okay? All right, I'm screaming at people, okay, because I'm loud. I'm from Chicago, okay? But listen, but I knew that I could never emulate somebody else's style. And who I'm thinking about you all is Vera Bradford for the people from LA. I used to love watching Vera. She was so professorial, and she was short too, but calming, and but I can't do Vera because I'm not Vera. So listen, do you, okay? You have to listen. You all know that generally we all like each other, but the public don't like fucking lawyers, okay? They don't like us because they can't wrap their heads around how we get so much money. For those of us in LA, I know there's other public defenders that don't get as much money as we do, but okay, that we get so much money for just what? For using words. We're not making Snickers. We're not building shit, okay? It's just our words. So that's why people generally don't like us. And never forget it. And it's no knock to being a lawyer, because we are fucking great. Okay? But just realize that those 12 people listen to you. They already came in there with a distrust of you. And if you compound that by trying to pretend to be something that you're not, you will never gain their trust. They will be sitting there thinking, look at this bitch flossing. Okay? So just do you. Bring your own unique style. It's good. And then there are people who think that, my style, that the whole, hey, we're going to duke it out. I'm loud. I'm cussing and all that. It's the best. It's not. It's not the best way. Those people who are slow and steady, if you're just doing you can get the exact same result and have effective cross-examination and to promote your theory, okay? So just do you. Right. All right, so now this is the part where I get to impart some advice or wisdom to you all that I am going to confess that I myself, I'm unable to do this. I'm unable to moderate my tone with elderly witnesses or child witnesses, okay? And that is a failing, I confess. I'm not good at that. Because believe you me, I will cross-examine a 7-year-old like they're a lying-ass LAPD, okay? I will. But then again, come on now, some of those little fuckers are lying, okay? All right? And even though we all know that you don't have to, I guess, I'm unable to say, and the thing I hate is stop coddling them. I don't like kids being coddled. Fuck that, okay? But I know that in order to be effective in my cross-examination, I got to tone it down a little, right? Okay? So you have to moderate your tone. Don't cross-examine witnesses like they're all, the same. And that's a skill that you can acquire and a talent. And I'm telling you, I don't have it, okay? But that don't mean I've lost all my child molestation cases, okay? I won some because I'm with the jury is with me on these some lying little 7-year-olds, okay? All right? But it's just I guess appreciate your audience, all right? All right, stay laser focused on your defense theory and don't get caught lost in the weeds. It's easy to do. So like, for example, with the purple and the yellow shirt, the thing, so I could, you get in, get out. The point is that you lied at the prelim or you're lying now. And that's all the focus needs to be. We don't have to talk about, well, was it a button-down shirt or was it a t-shirt? We don't have to do all that. Don't get lost in the weeds. Just make your point that the fucker lied. Either he's lying at the prelim or he's lying now, but he's just a liar, okay? So don't get caught up in the minutia of getting, trailing around and let the witness take you down a path that away from what your point was, okay? Stay focused on your defense theory. Now listen, though, that doesn't mean that defense theories won't overlap. You have started out a case thinking, oh yeah, this is a great ID case. Yeah, I only got one shaky, photo ID, and yeah, but this is a great ID case. But then something happens to move the needle. You got to be ready for that. You got to be ready for when something happens to move the needle and use that to your advantage, okay? But stay focused on your defense theory. All right. Don't get rattled by objections and judicial reprimand and, Miss Whitfield, move on. Move on, counsel. You've asked that already. Move on. Okay, don't get rattled by that. Okay? Because you know what? You got to stay cool. You're like, no, because I'm getting my point out. We get paid for our words. So reword the shit, okay? But don't be lazy about it. Use you know what? When you're trying to reword it, think about your next nice meal because we get paid for our words, okay? Reword it, but don't get rattled and don't get embarrassed. I see a lot of lawyers when judges start going all in on them. Miss Whitfield, counsel, sit down. Excuse me, Your Honor. I will move on, but I'm not going to sit down because I'm not done with my cross-examination yet. And then just ease back, ask that same goddamn question that you've been asking 3 times, but it's now reworded, okay? But no, you're not going to sit down, all right? Because you know what? This is my house, all right? Okay? I'm here to fight for this dude who ain't got nobody else in the room but me. So you're not going to sit me down. And don't be embarrassed. Think the jury's thinking, ooh, the judge is really going after her. Look at me. Y'all know, how many Jewish y'all think have said that about me, okay, in the courtroom? Oh, the judge is going after her. The judge can go fuck himself, okay? I'm gonna get my point out, all right? So yes, okay? So don't get rattled. Don't get rattled about those. And see, you know what though? I am one of those who rattles the DA. I object like a motherfucker. I object about everything. Objection. And the DA gets rattled. Don't let him do it to you, okay? All right? Even if you got a DA that's like me, that's, objecting and a fool and loud. Stay unfazed. Get your point out. Advance your defense theory. Do not ask any questions that's not helping you, but ask all the questions that will. And ask them more than once, okay? All right, so this is my thing. I like to get to the point, short, sweet, repeat. Get to the point, short, sweet, repeat. Okay, and you know what? You don't have to repeat it, in a row so you can get objection, asked, and answered, okay? But still, whatever that point was, that your aha moment again, just bring it up at another point in time. Just you have to repeat it. Because that's the one thing that I have noticed in talking to jurors afterwards, the shit that they miss. Even whether it's a guilty or not guilty, the shit that they missed, all right? So I believe, get to the point, short, sweet, repeat, okay? And again, y'all see, this is my favorite though. I'm sorry, this is about being bullied by judges and prosecutors, and maybe I get that a lot because I'm a woman, because I'm short, okay? I don't know, but you have to be fearless. You have to be fearless, and I know it's hard. Because I know, we all, worried about what people think about us or worried what the jurors think about us or, but still you have to be fearless. Do not be bullied, all right? You got to drive it in, drive the point up because this cross-examination is how we eat, okay? So don't get scared, all right? Just think about me. Think. Remember when Nan Whitfield said the judge can go fuck himself and I'm going to stand up and, and I'm going to carry that home. Okay, so do not be bullied by them yelling at you or trying to shut you up, all right? Oh, and so the picture is that, listen, that's in my head, again, Race is everything. Shout out to Race Matters. But I know courtrooms sometimes can feel like, and I know I'm in the South, so forgive me, all right? I know I'm from, liberal California, so I'm not trying to offend anybody, but sometimes courtrooms can feel like big old, sugar plantations, okay? With the judge being the overseer, all right? And the DA being, whoever they do that's plantations, I don't know. And, but listen, they're not. We own the courtroom, all right? Because you know what, Judge? If it were not for me and mine sitting here, you wouldn't have been able to send your ugly kids to college, okay? All right? So we own this place, all right? If it wasn't for us, there'd be no them, okay? So, and again, this dude or dudette sitting next to you, you are all they have. So you cannot be scared or bullied by anybody, okay? Everybody with me on that? Okay, all right. All right. I can't say it enough. I can't. Be prepared as fuck, okay? Again, know everything about that case. When we're in trial, we already living it 24/7. Living it, breathing it, eating. Be prepared. I promise you, if you are prepared, and I think Mr. Foster said this too, if you are prepared, you do feel better. If you are prepared, you do look better because you look like you know what's going on. I can tell you how good I feel when I'm impeaching a witness from a prelim transcript and I know the page, the line number, and the DA and the judge are looking through it, and then it's right. It's always right. And then the judge can get to the point where they look to you for, Miss Whitfield know this. So Miss Whitfield, what page is it on? In front of the jury. So you look like you know everything. And you know how you know everything? Because you prepared as fuck, okay? All right, so be prepared. Put in the time, it's worth it, okay? Shit, we want to win, right? Okay, just be prepared, all right? Because, I understand that us too, we're too sitting there at council table thinking about Game of Thrones or the fact that our 17-year-olds wouldn't be. Okay, look, but you got to focus when you're in cross-examination. You got to focus when you're in a trial. Think about that shit when the bell rings, okay? All right? And be prepared. And here's the thing. Pay attention. Pay attention. And I understand that Mr. Posner was about the chapters and the scripts and all that. I'm not a scripted cross-examiner. I don't sit down and write every question that I'm going to ask, okay? I basically do like an outline of what the point is, my defense theory, what I'm going to get out from their witnesses, okay? Because here's the thing. I sit and watch a lot of lawyers not paying attention to the answers during direct or not paying attention when they're cross-examining. Because you know what? These witnesses so far, they're not computers, okay? I'm sure we're going that way, but all right? These are human beings, okay? Answering questions. There are subtleties in body language and answers that you will miss if your ass is looking at the next question or looking at... No, pay attention. How about this? So, Mr. So-and-so, did you say that the shirt was purple? You testified at the preliminary hearing that the shirt was purple. And he says, yes. Now, what do we get out of that? Yes. We get that he's not sure, okay? So, Mr. So-and-so, I noticed you hesitated and you said, That's because you're not sure the color of that shirt. Isn't that true? That's really what's true. Because you know what? That was a long time ago, sir. You've been through a lot. This country has been through a lot, okay? All right? Okay? I'm sure you just don't remember. And that's okay, because we're human beings. But if you miss it, if you're not watching, and you've seen people's faces, like when they answer something where you know they're lying, okay? Or they're trying to make it up as they go along. Shit, we've seen our clients do that, all right? As they're trying to make it up as they go along. But you will miss that if you're not paying attention. And I mean pay attention to everything. That's why trials are hard. I know, because we have to pay attention to everything. We have to pay attention to the witnesses. We have to pay attention to how juror number 3 was receiving that witness by body language. We have to pay attention to what our clients are doing. To see, fool, are you over here with your picking your fucking nose? Okay, we have to pay attention to everything. But pay attention during cross-examination. Don't be so married or wed to a script or the questions you're going to ask that you miss what's happening right in front of you. Don't be texting on your Apple Watch, okay? pay attention, all right, when a witness is testifying, both during cross and during direct, all right? Okay, so again, my favorite defense, one of my favorites, my three favorites are, of course, identification, self-defense, and of course, the police ain't shit. Of course, that'd be my favorite, okay? Okay, so when the defense theory is identity misidentification, and listen, so I included some police reports for 3 different cases in the materials. I know y'all didn't read that because I wouldn't read the shit either, okay? So we're just gonna take this brand new, all right, okay? But, all right, so we're gonna go over when the cross-examination, when the defense theory is identity. Okay. Or what I like to call, some other dude did that shit, not us, okay? All right? Okay, so the fact pattern that I gave you, that it was criminal threats and an assault, where it's alleged that a male Hispanic walked up to a kid and his mom when they were, the mom was taking the kid to school, and he like threatened the kid with an empty water bottle, okay? And then he left, so he wasn't arrested on the scene. So a 911 call went out, and a description was given. Now see, listen, we always pay particular attention to that initial description, right? Because that's the first thing that came out the gate, all right? That's the closest to maybe being the truth. This is before we get a field ID or a photo lineup, or you came to the prelim and eyeballing the defendant, okay? So that initial description, what was it? Male, Hispanic, heavy set, bald, 20 to 30 years old, wearing a gray hat, LNX tattoo on the left side of the face. And for those of you who don't know, that's Lennox, which is a street gang in LA, okay? All right? So, and then what was the time and day of week? So it was a Wednesday, 7:40, I'm bad at math, clearly. 1:40, the child witness was 11. They were Spanish speakers. There was a small plastic empty water bottle, gang affiliations, a school nearby. Okay, so that was the initial 911 call. So, what would be in your defense's ID? So what are we looking at? We are looking at this as being the cross-examination, let's say, of the cop, all right? So when the 911 call came in, did the caller describe the shirt other than gray? Well, no. Well, what was it, a light gray? Was it a dark gray? Was it medium gray? Yeah, I don't know. No, there was no other description. Well, was it a T-shirt? Was it a button-down shirt? Yeah, no, there was no other description, just a gray shirt. How about any distinctive logos on it? Yeah, no, there was no information regarding any distinctive logos. Short sleeve, long sleeve? Yeah, no, there was no other descriptors of it. Well, thinking about the tattoo, when the caller called in, did the caller say that the LNX tattoo that was on the left side of the face, was it large or small letters? Yeah, the caller didn't say. Any distinctive style to the lettering? Yeah, no, the caller didn't say. Was it block lettering? Was it script lettering? Yeah, the caller didn't say. How about the color of the ink? Did the caller describe the color of the ink? Yeah, no, there was no description of that. Was it a horizontal or vertical pattern? Yeah, no, there's no description of that. All right, okay. So wait, that actually cuts against us in 2 ways, all right? So, because I would like to say that the caller had a lot of descriptors about the tattoo, because then I would say the caller was looking more at the tattoo than he or she was at the face of the suspect, okay? So I would then ask the cop, now you would agree that the presence of a tattoo on a person's face, that's clear indicia of gang membership, that would invoke a heightened sense of caution for not only lay people, for police officers as well, wouldn't it? And officer probably will say yes, of course, because of course. And so then I'll be able to link that back around to they were looking at the tattoo and, they really couldn't, look at the face. That's why we got such a general description of a male Hispanic. And another thing, between the ages of 20 to 30 years old, that's a wide ass span, okay? And I understand that, people say black don't crack, but still, 20 to 30, between 20 to 30, come on, that's a wide span. So I would also focus on that, because otherwise, other than the tattoo, right, that could be anybody. That could be anybody in Los Angeles. Any male Hispanic that's heavy set and bald, between 20 to 30, okay? So it's a tattoo, right? I would also ask the cop, well, did they describe any other tattoos observed? No. How about the presence of facial hair? Did the caller describe seeing a mustache? Well, no. How about a goatee? Yeah, no. How about a beard? Yeah, no. How about sideburns? Yeah, no. What about the eye color? Did the 911 caller say what the eye color was? Yeah, no, we don't have that. Did the 911 caller advise that the suspect had eyeglasses, sunglasses, or any other eyewear? Yeah, no, there was no description of that. And the bald head, was it anything distinctive about the shape of the head? Did the caller describe anything being distinctive about the shape of the head? Yeah, no. Okay, did the caller describe any head covering, like a baseball cap, a scarf, a do-rag, anything? Yeah, no, there was no description of that. Okay, how about the lower body wear? Did the caller describe the suspect wearing shorts? Yeah, no. How about jeans? Yeah, no. Casual pants? Yeah, no. No. How about tuxedo bottom? Yeah, no, none of that. How about the footwear? Did the caller describe what the person was wearing on their feet? Was it tennis shoes? Yeah, no, it was none of that. Flip-flops? No. Steel-toe boots? Yeah, no, there was no description of that. Okay, well, did the caller describe how the clothing appeared? Was it unkempt, disheveled, neat? Yeah, no, it was no description of that. There was no description of that. Presumably, all the answers will be no, because if there were descriptions of that, we would have seen that in the police report, right? So what do we get out of that? We are focusing on the things that were not initially described, okay? And just doing that creates a sense of distrust in the validity of the ID, okay? So then next we move to, where did the description of the suspect initially come from? And in the police report, you say that parents called saying he was harassing parents. And then I say, well, which parents? Did you conduct any investigation to determine if the reporting parents are either active gang members themselves or affiliated with any gang membership that might be known rivals of Lennox? Did you do that? Yeah, no, we didn't do that. Did you determine whether or not those same reporting parents had other children that may be gang members or affiliated with gang members that are rivals to Lennox? Yeah, no, we didn't do that. And see, you're sitting here, you're thinking, wow, well, we really didn't want to attack the cop or cast suspicion that maybe these parents are gang members? Because you know what? Fuck, we like gang members. They're our clients. But when we are challenging this ID, everybody's under the bus, okay? All right? So yeah, so even the parent that, think, the parent is taking their kid to school, that don't mean that parent not a gang member. Shit, we live in LA, okay? So just like it's thrown out on our clients, just a little tidbit, just to make the jury give a little bit of side eye to the defendant that maybe he's in the gang. Turn that shit around and put it on the witnesses too, in the eyes of a jury, okay? All right, so we got to tackle the tattoo head on, because you'd agree that that's probably the worst fact for us. Because of course our guy has a Lennox tattoo on the left side of his face, right? Okay, so that is, because other than that, he could be anybody. So we gotta tackle that tattoo head on, and that's not Lennox. That's just the only picture I can find with a guy with a tattoo on the left side of his face. Okay, all right. Okay. So ask the witness. So now you described the tattoo on the left side of the suspect's face in your case, right? Yes. Well, let me ask you, Miss Witness, do you live in the area of the school? Oh yeah, I do. I live a couple blocks away. And how long have you lived there? I've lived there for about 10 years. Oh, okay. So would it be fair to say that that wasn't the first time you have seen this LNX tattoo on the face of a male Hispanic between the ages of 20 through 30 and maybe even beyond? That's not the first time you've seen a tattoo on the left side of a male Hispanic, bald, shaven face, is it? Well, no, it's not the first time. In fact, I would dare say in your community, in your neighborhood, you've seen that more than 20 times, more than 30 times. Wouldn't that be fair to say? Well, yeah, I have seen that. So really, the tattoo on the left side of the face wasn't really a distinctive characteristic of the suspect in your case. Is that right? Well, I mean, I have seen them before, okay? Is it possible that maybe in your mind, the person that you identified as my client because he has a tattoo on the left side of his face, that could have been anybody in your neighborhood, couldn't it? Because there's nothing distinctive that you can provide for us that is specific to this dude, is it? Well, I don't know. I guess not. It's a tattoo. All right. So just deal with it head on. Don't try to run away from it, because that will be your inclination. It's like, shit, let's not talk about the tattoo because the dude got a tattoo. But no, delve into it. And the fact that for certain, this witness is not going to say, I've lived here for 10 years in LA and I've never seen a male Hispanic, heavy set, bald, with a tattoo on their face. I've never seen that. That was the first time. That's not going to happen, because that description can fit thousands of young Latino men between the ages of 20 to fucking 30, all right? That can fit anybody, all right? So, don't be afraid of it, go for it. Just what we're doing is, of course, since ID, we are attacking the identification by what they didn't say, right? And then whatever they did say, we're minimizing it, okay? All right. Okay, now in the fact pattern that I gave you, that it didn't have a field show up, but I want to talk about cross-examination when it comes to a field show up, all right? So when there's a field show up and there's a positive ID, what we're going to do? We're going to attack the fucking process, okay? So, Miss Nearsighted, were you taken to what is known as a field show up where you were asked to make a positive identification of a suspect? Well, yes, I was. Who took you to that location? Well, that would have been Officer Piglet and Detective Shrek. Okay? All right. All right. And were you in a police vehicle? Yes, we went in a police vehicle. And so, were there only two officers who escorted you? Yes, Detective Shrek, Officer Piglet. Now, where were you seated inside of the police car? I was sitting in the back, and, you know, Officer Piglet was the passenger, and Detective Shrek was the driver. Okay. All right. How long did it take you to get to the place where you were going to be shown, asked to provide a positive identification of the suspect in your case? And use those words, okay? Because don't say, how long did it take you to see the suspect? No. How long did it take for you to be taken to the location for you to provide a positive identification of the suspect in your case? Oh, you know, it's only a few blocks. I would say maybe, 10 minutes. Okay. All right. So did you talk to those officers during that 10 minutes about what happened to you, since it was so fresh in your mind? Yeah, we kind of talked about it. I kind of told them what happened. Did you talk to those officers about the description of the suspect you were being taken in order to provide a positive identification? Did you talk to them about that? Well, they just told me we were going to a location. And did they tell you at the location they had someone in custody? Well, yeah, they said I'd have to go, and that they had arrested somebody who, who matched the description. It's like, okay, so they told you that they had arrested somebody who matched the description that you gave on the 911 call. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Well, did you ever hear the officers speaking among themselves about the suspect that you were going to be taken to make a positive identification of? Well, yeah, they kind of said, I heard them talking about it, because, yeah, they were sitting in the front seat. And did you hear any radio traffic from other officers talking about any description of the suspect that you were going to be taken to make a positive identification of? Yeah, I think I may have heard something on the radio. Okay, all right. Now, so before you arrived to the location, you expected to see a suspect in custody. Isn't that true? Well, yeah, I did. I expected to see someone. And before you arrived to the location, you expected that suspect to be somebody that the police officers believed was the suspect in your case. Isn't that true? Because why else would they be taking you? Isn't that true, ma'am? Well, yeah. I figured, he was a male Hispanic. I figured I was going to see the person who assaulted me. Okay. So, and when you got to the location, you were asked to look at a person? Well, yes. How many people were you asked to look at the field show up? Oh, well, it was just one guy that was out there. And that one guy happened to be a male Hispanic who was heavyset, bald. Well, yeah, he was. But this guy, this male Hispanic, heavyset, did he look like he could be between the ages of 20 to 30? Well, yeah, he looked like that. Okay. But the difference is this person, was he handcuffed? Well, yeah, his hands were cuffed behind his back, and the police officer had him, stand up against the police car. And from where he was standing, how many other police officers around this one sole person that you were asked to make a positive identification as the suspect in your case? Oh, it's about three 3 officers around. And you, in fact, did that. Is that right? You made a positive identification of the person that the police had in custody and they believed to be the suspect in your case. Isn't that true, ma'am? Well, yeah, I did. All right? So we are attacking the process. We are magnifying all of the opportunities that a cop had to come in there and plant a memory in her mind that the person that they arrested was the one who did it. Because think about it. That's what jurors think. Like I always say when jurors come in, listen, you all came into the courtroom, you filed in here, and you saw that the guy with the black dress on you figured that probably was the judge, the dude with the gun, that's probably the bailiff, and the person behind sitting next to the judge, that's probably the clerk, and the woman being taking the notes, you figured that she was probably the court reporter, and maybe you didn't even know if I was the defendant or the defense attorney, but okay, all right? But when you found out that the person sitting next to me was the defendant, how many of you came and thought, your first thought was, I wonder what that dude did. I wonder what he did. And people raise their hand, yeah, I did think that. And then I go into how that's the exact opposite of how you're supposed to think when you walk into a courtroom. But anyway, okay, lay people will think that if the cops got this guy, he was arrested a couple blocks away, even though, so then I will ask, so the person you saw that was in custody, and then you were told to make a positive identification of, and you know what, sometimes the DA will object and say, objection, Your Honor, that's not what she was told. Okay, all right, so what? So I'm saying it again, though, I bet you that, okay? All right, so the person that tell me, what color shirt was he wearing? I really don't remember. I think it was a light color. Okay, the person that you were asked to make a positive identification of, what was his outer? What was the outer wear that pants? Was he wearing shorts? I'm not really sure. Was he wearing jeans? I don't know. Did you see a tattoo on his face? Well, yeah, I did see a tattoo on his face. Yeah, you remember that though, right? You remember that tattoo. You don't remember the shirt that you had given a previous description of a gray t-shirt or a gray shirt. You don't remember that though, right? But you remember the tattoo. Is that right? Okay. All right, so at that point then, of course, we can get up and argue to the jury that she made a field identification of the person in custody, and in her mind, that was the suspect in her case. And it was easy to get there. You got all the opportunity of the police officers, taking her, they're talking about it, everybody chit-chatting. He's the only dude there. Just like when they come in and make an in-court identification, that's the only person sitting. I mean, it's an open book fucking question, right? Okay? But you have to you can't just get up and say, oh, who else are they going to identify? He's the only one there. Don't do it like that. Build it up, okay? Let the jury come into that assessment, and then you can hammer it in closing, all right? And listen, as you can see, I would leave no stone unturned when it comes to a positive identification, because realize that that's impactful. Realize it's impactful for jurors, okay? To hear somebody say, can you identify the person in court who did whatever? Yeah, and point at your guy, okay? So that's why you have to leave no stone unturned, okay? You can do it methodically. You can even do it slower, kinder, and gentler than me, okay? But you get there because, like I said, just saying, oh, he's the only one. No. You build it up to that. Let the jurors think that in their mind. Who else the fuck was she going to identify at the field ID? You don't have to hammer it, okay? Okay, and I really don't have anything to say about this except I like that this is Usual Suspects, one of my favorite movies, okay? All right? Okay. But a lineup, okay? All right, so let's get to photo six-pack, as we call them, where I come from. Okay. All right, so, and of course, this one was my favorite because, of course, we always love it when the witness say no, okay? All right. So, oh yeah, so forget the one in the material. So that was a black and white one. I like the color one better, okay? All right, so when we get a photo six-pack where the witness says no, they don't see the suspect. Okay, now the reason why we're here though is because it was a second witness that did identify him, okay? But we're gonna use this one to help us, defeat the second one. So we'll say, this is an instance where this was a fair, unbiased photo lineup. Even though it's not. Please look at those 6 people. They don't look shit alike, okay? But whenever it's a no, hey, I'm loving this photo six-pack, okay? All right? So yeah, so this one would be good cop, have the entire box of donuts, okay? Because whenever a witness says no, I'm not mad at the cop, right? Okay, so let's deal with when a witness says this. And it's a whole lot to unpack here for a cross-examination. You probably can't see it from there, so hold on. This one says, do you see anyone you recognize? The witness answers, not 100% sure. And then the next question is, if the answer to question 1 was yes, identify by number the photos you recognize. That answer is left blank. Okay. So then I would say, so listen, Miss Ascari, your answer to question 1 was in fact no, wasn't it? That's true, because it'd be fair to say that the reason why you left the answer 2 blank is because you were just following directions. Because the directions was, if the answer was yes, then identify. But what you wrote was not 100% sure, but that's a no. So that means when you looked at that, no. All right, and when you say not 100% sure, what percentage would you say then you could have been wrong? Was it 30%, 50%, 99.9%? But see, when you said no, that really was 100%. You were 100% not sure, or 100% sure that the person was not one of those people. Isn't that true? Well, yeah, well, maybe I wasn't 100% sure. Okay, all right. So let's go on to what you finished writing, okay? Do you have any additional comments? And what you wrote is, number 2 is very close. Skinny mustache, the form of his face looks like the person I met, okay? So let me ask you though, Ms. Nearsighted, after you wrote not 100% sure, but prior to your additional comments in question 4, did you have any further discussion with Detective Schreck? Well, no, he just, told me to, look and, no, he just said, how about with Officer Piglet? Did Officer Piglet have any further discussion with you? Well, yeah, Officer Piglet told me to look again, to look closely at all of them again and see if I can make any distinction. And that's when you then looked at number 2. Is that right? Yes. And that's when you said the number 2 is very close. Is that right? Yeah, that's what I wrote. And that was because, is that because Officer Piglet asked you to look particularly at number 2? Well, yes, he did. Okay. Did you hear whether or not the officers, after you wrote that you weren't 100% sure, did you hear them talking about anything? Did they say anything amongst themselves? Yeah, I don't remember if they were saying anything amongst themselves. Okay. Looking at photos, I'm going to ask you, Ms. Nearsighted, looking at photos 2, 3, 5, and 6, you would agree that they all appear to have what you would describe as a skinny mustache. Is that right? Well, yes. And numbers 1 and 4 are clean shaven. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. So even though you can narrow it down to only now 4 people, because that would be 2, 3, 5, and 6, even narrowing it down, you still had no confidence in making an identification, did you? Because that's really what not 100% sure is. You're saying, I have no confidence in my ability to identify the suspect in my case. Really, that's really what you're saying. Is that right? Well, yeah, I guess I just know that one had a skinny mustache. Yeah, but 3 other ones did too, all right? Okay? And 2 didn't have, so you weren't even looking at 1 and 4 because they didn't have any mustache, okay? So, well, I guess. Okay, so about this form of the face thing, what exactly does that mean, form of the face? Well, I meant like by the shape of his face. Okay, so of those 6, who would you say have the similar shape of the face as number 2? Well, I guess looking at it, so would 5 and 6. Yeah, okay. So really, when you were trying to qualify, I guess why you weren't 100% sure, the bottom line is that you did not recognize anybody and you did not identify anybody. Isn't that true? At the end of the day, isn't that true, ma'am? Well, I guess that's true. Okay. Now, another thing I just want to ask you about this photo lineup, Ms. Nearsighted. You were, in fact, robbed at gunpoint. Isn't that true? An individual came up to you, all right, put a gun to your face and demanded your purse or your money or your wallet, or demanded that. And this was an individual you had never seen before. Isn't that true? Well, yeah, that's true. And you were scared. Wouldn't that be fair to say? That was a frightening experience for you. Is that right? Yeah, well, yeah, it was. It was really scary. Yeah, but nonetheless, you wrote, his face looks like the person I met. You met? Where'd you meet him? Was it at a club? I mean, all right? So you didn't say that looked like the face of the person who robbed me at gunpoint. It was somebody I met. The reason why you put I met and not the person who robbed me is because, again, you didn't want to be implicating an innocent person. Isn't that true? That's really what it was. That's why you softened the language. That's why you didn't want to say robbery, because you know that the person who robbed you is not among those 6 pictures. Isn't that true, ma'am? That's really true, because you wouldn't say you met a robber. What the fuck? Okay, right? Okay. So we have to magnify every opportunity to minimize a positive identification. Even if, you first look at that and think, oh, good, thank God, you said not 100% sure. There are some jurors that not 100% sure is good enough for them, okay? So that's why that is not a good answer for it. We gotta break her down, all right? To get her to say, ooh, yeah, shit, you're right, it's not him, all right? And then what we have is 2, we have one person saying no, and then we have this one that we brought out through cross-examination, no, okay? All right. So we're gonna get now to my third. Egregious police misconduct defense theory, also lovingly known as reasonable doubt. If you think about it, though, all defense theories are really what? We're trying to create reasonable doubt, right? So that's every defense theory. So it's not like you have to set out and say, okay, backing up. So when you look at it and think, damn, I don't have nothing, I got nothing. What you got is, I'm creating some reasonable doubt, because that's always our defense theory, right? Okay, so, and in the fact pattern that I gave you, it was about an individual who had been arrested for having, I think it was, what he had was, there were 3 40 caliber bullets that were inside of a backpack that was in the trunk of a car. And here this guy was, he was just sitting, parked legally at the Planet Fitness in Inglewood, California, shout out to Inglewood, okay? Minding his own business, by himself, leaned back in the driver's seat, but the car was parked legally, wasn't running, nobody was around, okay? And so along comes these 2 Inglewood police officers come up to him, and they know him because they've had several contacts with him before, okay? And they arrest him. They have him get out the car because they say they smell weed, which was complete bullshit, because he had a little vial of medicinal marijuana inside the glove box, but they smell weed, right, okay? And ordered him out of the car, arrested him, and then searched the car. And then that's when they found the bullets. Then they put him in the back of the police car because they were going to take him to the police station, right? And while they were milling around, searching the car, doing all of that, one of them says they see him make a furtive gesture towards his waistband, okay? That's what allegedly what they see behind, even though in front of his, even though his hands were handcuffed behind his back and he was seated in the police vehicle, right? And then when they drive him then to the police station and he's getting out, lo and behold, they see a bundle of cocaine on the passenger rear, the floorboard of the passenger seat of the police vehicle. So they're trying to, make the theory that, ooh, he pulled that bundle of cocaine out his ass, like literally, okay? And threw it on the floorboard, okay? So he got charged with being a former felon in possession of ammunition and then, of course, possession of cocaine, right? Okay, so you know all this. These are your facts. So your defense theory is that these cops are making this shit up. It's clear as day to all of us. We're going to make it clear to the jury, all right? So it goes something like this. Because if you read the police report, it said that they were on a directed patrol. So, Officer Shithead, good morning, okay? Can you tell us exactly what you mean by a directed patrol? What does that mean? Well, we are targeting, Legend Crip, that's another LA gang, Legend Crip gang members in this area, and so that's what we do. We go around, we targeted patrol. Okay, so what you mean is that by targeted patrol of alleged, Crip gang members is that if you see one, you're fucking shaking them down. That's what targeted means, right? Well, yeah, no, it doesn't mean that. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does, because that's exactly what happened in this case. Can you tell me, then, Mr. Innocent, he was seated inside of his car, is that right? And the car was legally parked, is that right? Yes. There were no other individuals around him. He didn't appear to be engaging in any illegal activity. Isn't that true? That's true. So yeah, but then we just went to him, we made consensual contact. And what did that look like? What a consensual contact with this person that you've had 5 prior occasions with where you've arrested him, what did that look like? Well, I went up to the car and his hands were shaking. Really? His hands were shaking and I smelled the odor of marijuana. So I asked him, did he have anything else illegal in the car? He said, no. I was like, okay. And so now this backpack where you found the 4 bullets, and where was that? Well, that was they were inside the backpack, in the trunk, locked. Okay. Now, did you run the car to determine ownership of the car? Yeah, I did. And did the ownership come back to Mr. Innocent? Well, no, it didn't. Did it come back stolen? Oh, no, it didn't. Inside this backpack, was there any indicia of Mr. Innocent? There was any bills in his name, any IDs, anything that would connect Mr. Innocent to the bullets in that backpack? Well, no, but they were in there. I was like, okay, what else was in the backpack? Well, nothing. Hold up. You telling me that it's a big ass black backpack and the only thing in it was 4 .40 caliber bullets. That's it. Well, yeah, that was all that was in it. I was like, okay, did you check any photographs of those bullets inside of the backpack? Yeah, no, we didn't do that. Oh, yeah, you didn't do that. Mm-hmm. All right, so we got no ownership. You had no ownership. This dude is sitting in a legally parked car that's not reported stolen, all right? You telling us you smell marijuana, all right? Okay? You order him out and you arrest him, and then you find the bullets in the trunk, and then you take him to the station. Okay, so tell me, you said you saw him fiddling around with his waistband while he was seated inside of the back of the patrol vehicle. Okay, I gotta hurry. Okay, I gotta go. Anyway, how did that work? How did he, with his hands handcuffed behind his back, dig up his ass? I said anus, of course, in front of the jury. Yeah, y'all, I don't cuss in front of the jury, okay? All right? And how is it that he then managed to get that out and throw it on the floorboard while you all were there, right in front of you? How did that happen? So anyway, bottom line is, because I got to go, that case was a good one. It was a not guilty. Because listen, also they booked 3 rots in the evidence. By the time it got in front of the jury, the picture was 12 of those motherfuckers, okay? All right, so we were able to use that, the mishandling of evidence. That was our defense theory. It was a not guilty. Thank you all for putting up with me, okay?